AITA for not letting my kid's sister call me dad. I have split custody for my two sons Diego, 12, and Sasha, 10, with my ex Josie. About a year after we split up, Josie got pregnant with Eva from a one-night stand. That guy never stepped up. He's pretty broke, so doesn't pay child support and would stop by every now and then when Eva was young but hasn't been seen since she was 4 or 5. I'm pretty good friends with Josie and will invite her and all 3 kids over sometimes when I have cookouts and stuff like that. Through the years I've watched Eva for Josie as a favor here and there. They go to the same school, so sometimes I'll pick all 3 of them up and drop them off at Josie's on her weeks when she's busy, but I have some time. I don't play a fatherly role though and don't really want to. The other day when I picked them up from school, Josie asked me if I want to stay for dinner. We had a nice meal and hung around a while. When I go to leave and Diego and Sasha hug me goodbye and say, "Bye Dad," Eva also gave me a hug and called me that as well. I figured it was a mix-up and go, "What was that, Eva?" She goes, "Oh sorry. Mean to ask if I could call you that now." I told her I'd rather her call me my name. I am not comfortable with that. I don't want that responsibility on me. She seemed sad and I thought that was that. But since then Josie told me I am being a real jerk, saying it's not like she's asking for child support from her, but I should still let her call me that and be flattered. I don't really like it though, and I'm afraid of future expectations if she gets used to it. AITA for that? I want to be clear that the only part one said was, "I'd rather you just call me name." I am not comfortable with that. I don't want that responsibility on me. Was me explaining myself here. I didn't say that out loud to her. I don't personally want to be uncle or some nickname. I feel most comfortable going by my name. I have sibs with kids who call me Tio and I like that just being their thing. That's not your child. You're doing enough to include her with your kids periodically. Letting her call your dad sets her up for heartache down the road. It was good to set that boundary now. Josie also needs to talk to her. Get her some therapy to deal with an absent father. You are in no way responsible for filling that void. NTA. You're setting a boundaries now so she doesn't get even more hurt. Also, Josie is at fault here. Her daughter is lonely. It'd gotta be tough seeing your siblings with their dad and your biological father didn't stick around. This does affect kids. They feel unwanted. However, it's not your place to fill the void. Sometimes you can get to that point and love a child like they are your own, however it doesn't always happen. You know what you're capable of. Lesson for adults: your decisions affect your kids. This poor little girl is now suffering. It's not your place to fix it. NTA, you absolutely did the right thing. It might feel temporarily awkward, but this is the type of blurred boundary that would be increasingly damaging as she gets older. For example, your sons go to your house regularly without her. She will start wondering why Dad doesn't want her there. Why doesn't Dad have a room for her? Why doesn't Dad take her on vacations with her brothers? And it would get very awkward with your son's school when she starts talking about how Dad treats her differently than her brothers. You are not her dad. Period. You are a positive male role model in her life. That's a very good thing. Blurring the lines by letting her call you dad would just create problems for everyone involved. NTA. I feel sorry for Eva, but this isn't your responsibility, and it's good you're drawing a line in the sand. Jody probably doesn't want to have a difficult conversation with her daughter. NTA. It's good that you were clear with the kid what your relation to her is. I can't help but wonder if Josie put her up to it and set her up for the heartache of being rejected. Sounds like it's worth having a longer conversation with Eva about it when you're not put on the spot. And an even longer one with Josie to make sure you're on the same page. For Eva's sake. NTA remind Josie that you are not Eva's dad and to stop treating you like you are one. And then go tell her and the baby daddy to accept some responsibility from her one-night stand. NTA. And taking on a fatherly role would, indeed, set you up for financial responsibility in some states of the U.S. You are so right to set this boundary now. NTA. You had no option here where she doesn't get hurt at some point. Confusing her by letting her call you dad definitely would have been the worst option here. NTA. Letting her call you dad would just set her up for future disappointment. NTA. If you said it kindly to the kid but yeah, expecting her to be sad. It's not your role. Maybe you need to step back from some of those joint things, especially with how her mother responded. Mom should not be encouraging that without y'all discussing it prior. NTA. But you need to set very clear boundaries with her mother. NTA. You clearly do a lot to support her on an emotional level, and that is admirable. It is an honor that she views you that way. You're NTA for not wanting to be called that, however. Because ultimately you're not her father, and if you don't feel comfortable with it, then that is absolutely okay. It's Eva I feel sorry for. More so than anyone though. It is probably difficult for her to know that her father isn't around. You're obviously the closest she has to that fatherly role model. And for that, you've done well. NTA. You have already stepped up more than most exes would. I get there are boundaries you are not comfortable with, and it's not right to try to steamroll over them. Or sucks for this little girl, but playing into a fantasy she has about you would be worse. NTA. I get not being comfortable with it. Might want to sit Eva down though and explain in kid-friendly terms that while you care for her and are happy she likes you, you're not comfortable with that. Maybe there's another pet name she can call you that's special, but different. This way she doesn't feel left out of the family or pushed aside. NTA. But you need to tell her mom to talk to her. It's mom's issue. Once again, another person that looks at their ex to solve their problems. No to her calling you dad. You can be a positive male influence without being called dad. Don't put yourself in a situation where your ex can try to put you on the hook for financial support for a kid that isn't yours. Josie needs to get her head on straight because I feel she encouraged this. NTA. You may want to back off from spending as much time with Eva. I think Josie got too comfortable. NTA. You are not her dad, and if you don't feel comfortable having her call you dad, that is valid. You are already doing more than most men would do. She probably doesn't really understand that she doesn't have the same father as the other children. I remember being young and only having one set of grandparents. When I found out my cousin had two sets of grandparents, I just automatically thought they were my grandparents too. I didn't get that it was a completely different family I wasn't related to. NTA. Sit down with her next time and tell her you do care about her and will be there for her if she needs it, but that you are not and will never be her father. I think it's important for her to know you do care about her in some level, but more as a family friend and not as dad. I am beyond surprised by all the YTA. You are not her dad and she's not your responsibility at all. It's good you set that boundary now before it got worse. I would honestly stop watching her though. She's becoming attached to you and wants you to be her dad because of the role you started with her.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.